Hey Midnights! We hope you enjoy our stories. Next, Sorceress versus Witch, an ancient divide of cosmic law and earthly soul, explored through myth and science. Thank you for listening. Don't forget to subscribe. Perhaps mythical creatures aren't just figments of our imagination, but echoes of truths too grand for mundane reality, whispering of potentials we've forgotten how to wield, or primordial forces that shaped the very bedrock of existence, vestiges of an age when the veil between worlds was thin as a spider's silk. The wind, a whisper of forgotten ages, laden with the scent of damp earth and distant pine, rustled through the ancient oak trees as Eliza, the sorceress of the sundered peaks, observed the flickering, amber light of a distant cottage. The glow, a domestic beacon against the deepening twilight, belonged to Morwan, the witch of the whispering woods. Their paths, though seemingly divergent and rarely crossing, were interwoven with the very fabric of the magical currents that coursed beneath the land, currents as old as the world serpent Jormungandr. Yet their essences were as different as the cold, intellectual gleam of starlight from the raw, unpredictable roar of fire. Eliza's power flowed not from a mystical, intuitive wellspring, but from a meticulous, almost scientific understanding of the cosmos. Her sanctuary, a tower of polished obsidian, perfectly aligned with ancient ley lines and celestial convergences, nestled among the highest, craggiest peaks, housed a library of grimoires bound in centuries-old dragonhide, their pages inscribed with glowing, precise runes of Hermetic principles and Enochian script. These weren't mere spellbooks, they were treatises on arcane physics, complex astrological charts mapping the influence of celestial bodies down to the picosecond, intricate alchemical formulae detailing elemental transmutations at a subatomic level, and geometric patterns that define the very structure of reality itself, the sacred geometry that underpins all creation, whispered to the Egyptian priests of Thoth. She had spent 4 centuries, often in states of meditative trance lasting for decades, in lonely communion with the celestial spheres, deciphering the silent, mathematical language of the stars, bending the very laws of known physics to her will through sheer intellectual mastery. Her magic was a rigorous discipline, a controlled symphony of energies she had painstakingly mastered through ceaseless study and experimentation, drawing upon the Akashic records for forgotten wisdom, accessing the cosmic library that supposedly holds every thought and event since the dawn of time. She could, with a precise incantation calculated to the micro-arcsecond of stellar alignment, summon a meteor shower to incinerate a fortress, conjure illusions so real they bled and breathed as if sprung from the collective unconscious, or mend shattered bones and ruptured organs with a touch that resonated with the very atomic structure of matter, recalling the mythical healing touch of ancient god-kings like Asclepius. Her history was one of unbroken scholarly pursuit, passed down through secretive orders of arcane academics, cloistered away from mundane perception in hidden libraries and remote monasteries, like the mythical library of Alexandria, each generation adding to the vast, impersonal library of sorceress lore. The earliest sorcerers, whispered in texts now dust and known only to Eliza's order, were ancient philosopher kings who sought to understand and manipulate reality itself through pure, unadulterated intellect, believing magic to be the ultimate expression of universal order and their divine right to rule, akin to the demigods of old who commanded nature. Their power was derived from deciphering the fundamental equations of existence, not from feeling. Morwan, on the other hand, drew her power from the earth, from the raw, untamed, and often chaotic spirit of the natural world, the very anima mundi, the world soul of ancient philosophy. Her dwelling, a humble, moss-covered cottage woven into the roots of a colossal ancient Yggdrasil-like tree deep within the gnarled heart of the whispering woods, was a testament to her connection, much like the groves of the ancient druids. Her magic was instinctual, a guttural hum that resonated with the primal pulse of the forest floor, a visceral understanding born of being of the earth, not merely on it. She didn't consult charts or ancient texts, she listened to the slow, subterranean growth of the tree roots, felt the minute tremors of the earth's hidden currents like the lifeblood of Gaia, the primordial earth goddess, and tasted the ancient wisdom in the dew on a spiderweb spun under a blood moon, seeing the intricate patterns of fate woven within. Her history was etched into the very land itself, passed down not through written scrolls, but through the unbroken oral traditions of a lineage stretching back to the dawn of humanity, to the first shamanic women who spoke with spirits of beast and plant, mirroring the practices of indigenous medicine women worldwide. Ancient tradition spoke of early women, often healers or midwives, who possessed an innate, empathic connection to the spirit world, to fae folk, nature elementals, and ancestral spirits, traversing the unseen paths of the otherworld. They were able to soothe virulent ailments with poultices of specific herbs gathered under specific planetary conjunctions, divine futures from the steam rising from a cauldron of infused waters mixed with water from sacred springs, or weave powerful, protective charms from strands of moonlit hair or the shed skin of a snake, drawing upon the ancient magic of sympathetic resonance. Her power stemmed from empathy, intuition, and a profound, often sorrowful, understanding of life and death cycles, much like the Norns weaving destiny at the base of the world tree. She could coax reluctant seeds to sprout overnight, understand the lament of a dying stag with a single touch as if sharing its very soul, or weave protective charms from strands of moonlit hair and whispered incantations that echoed the ancient tongues of the forest, drawing upon the wisdom of the crone aspect of the triple goddess, Hecate or Caridwen, who held dominion over magic, the moon, and the cycles of life. Her magic was a living thing, wild and unpredictable, sometimes manifesting as a gentle breeze, sometimes as a tempest. Both witches and sorceresses, as depicted in countless tales, are profoundly mythical creatures. Their conceptual existence is predicated on a belief in magic, a pervasive, non-physical force or phenomenon universally assumed to exist beyond the known and scientifically verifiable laws of nature, capable of defying, manipulating, or outright rewriting physical reality, much like the primordial chaos from which the cosmos was born in many creation myths. Witches are often portrayed as practitioners of folk magic, a term encompassing a wide array of activities grounded in local traditions, superstitions, and a deep connection to the natural or spirit world. Their deeds frequently involve concocting potions and brews, often containing bizarre and rare ingredients like mandrake root, believed to shriek when pulled, eye of newt, or powdered moon dust, believed to have healing, harmful, or transformative properties, reflecting the belief in sympathetic magic and contagious magic. They utter specific words or phrases in spells and incantations, often rhythmic or rhyming in ancient tongues like Old European or Proto-Celtic, to invoke a magical effect, ranging from simple blessings for fertility to complex curses for misfortune, such as the evil eye that could bring calamity with a glance, or the binding spells designed to prevent harm. They direct malevolent or benevolent magical energy through curses and blessings, sometimes binding spirits or forces to their will, or invoking deities and spirits from a rich pantheon of local folklore. They engage in divination using methods like reading tea leaves, scrying with crystal balls, interpreting omens from bird flight or animal entrails, or casting runes to foretell future events and uncover hidden truths, mirroring the oracles of Delphi. Communication with spirits or familiars, animal companions, often black cats, ravens, or toads, believed to possess supernatural knowledge or aid, serving as conduits for their magic and even as emissaries from the spirit world, is also a common portrayal, akin to the Norse shamans and their animal guides. The stereotypical witch is often an old woman living in a secluded cottage, often associated with negative connotations like wickedness, avarice, or grotesque appearance, for example, green skin, warty nose, riding broomsticks. However, many cultures also feature benevolent white witches or cunning folk who use their powers for good, often as healers or protectors of the community, like the wise women in many village tales. A prime example of the archetypal witch, especially the more ambiguous or even malevolent type, is Baba Yaga from Slavic folklore. She embodies the wild, unpredictable nature of the witch, dwelling in her famous hut on chicken legs that can move at will, traversing the forest in a mortar and pestle, sweeping away her tracks with a broom. She is a liminal figure, associated with death, rebirth, and initiation, often presenting both danger and cryptic aid to those who stumble upon her, mirroring the dark aspects of goddess figures. Her mythical role is to embody the wild, untamed forces of nature, the liminal spaces between the mundane and the spiritual worlds, and the often feared or misunderstood aspects of feminine power. They frequently serve as moral allegories, cautionary figures, or figures of deep reverence in community narratives, representing ancient, earth-bound wisdom. Sorceresses, in contrast, are typically depicted as more refined, intellectual, and often aristocratic magic users, their feats frequently involving a deeper understanding of underlying magical principles and more dramatic, far-reaching effects. Their deeds include elemental control, manipulating fire, pyrokinesis, that can ignite entire armies, water, hydrokinesis, to part seas like Moses, earth, geokinesis, to raise mountains or create chasms, air, aerokinesis, to conjure devastating storms or whirlwinds, or even light and shadow, photokinesis/umbrakinesis, on a grand scale, from conjuring blinding light to enveloping entire landscapes in perpetual darkness. They weave intricate complex enchantments, often requiring rare components like dragon scales, phoenix tears, capable of healing wounds or granting immortality, or captured starlight, and requiring hours of precise ritual, that can bind powerful beings, protect entire cities with impenetrable wards like the mythical city of Camelot, or alter the very fabric of a landscape through terraforming magic. They are also known for summoning and binding powerful extra-dimensional entities like jinn, demons, or elemental spirits to do their bidding, often through complex summoning circles and wards inscribed with ancient symbols of power. They excel in transfiguration and metamorphosis, altering the physical form of themselves or others, often involving transformations into animals or objects, or even into beings of pure energy or mist, similar to the shape-shifting deities of various pantheons. Beyond that, they engage in cosmic manipulation, influencing celestial bodies to align with their will, creating stable portals to other dimensions, like the Fey crossings in Celtic lore, or even temporarily altering the flow of time within a localized area, a power often attributed to powerful chronomancers. They are usually associated with ancient, forgotten knowledge, hidden orders, and often isolated ivory towers or secluded academies, sometimes even being guardians of ancient relics of immense power like the Holy Grail or the legendary Philosopher's Stone. Perhaps the most iconic sorceress in Western myth, embodying this intellectual mastery and formidable power, is Circe from Homer's Odyssey. A daughter of the sun god Helios and the ocean nymph Perseus, Circe is renowned for her vast knowledge of herbs, potent poisons, and intricate spells, most famously transforming Odysseus's men into swine with a potent brew and a touch of her golden wand, a testament to her command over transformation and illusion, and her power to ensnare mortals. Her mythical role is to represent the pinnacle of arcane knowledge, the power of the mind over matter, the relentless pursuit of ultimate cosmic understanding, and sometimes, the dangers of unchecked intellectual ambition, bordering on hubris. They often serve as incredibly powerful allies or formidable antagonists in grander, epic narratives, often shaping the fates of kingdoms and civilizations, much like the powerful mages in tales of high fantasy. The evidence of witches and sorceresses is exclusively historical and cultural, deeply rooted in belief systems, societal anxieties, and the human propensity for storytelling, rather than any empirical, verifiable data. The most profound and tragic evidence for witches comes from the European witch hunts, circa 1450 to 1750 CE. During this period, an estimated 40,000 to 50,000 individuals, predominantly women, were accused of witchcraft across Europe and colonial America. The evidence used against them was chillingly unscientific, relying on accusations and hearsay, often spurred by personal vendettas, neighborly disputes, or mass hysteria, and confessions extracted under duress through prolonged torture including sleep deprivation, pricking, piercing supposed insensible marks, and swimming, dunking in water to see if they floated, indicating innocence, or sank, indicating guilt and often drowning. Spectral evidence, where accusers claimed to see the spirit of the accused tormenting them, was also used, particularly in the Salem witch trials, 1692 to 1693, in Massachusetts, though later deemed unreliable due to its subjective and unverifiable nature. Physical anomalies like moles or birthmarks were interpreted as witches' marks, signifying a pact with the devil or points where a familiar might feed, tying into the demonic pact narrative prevalent in the era. Beyond this, nearly every culture possesses a rich tapestry of folklore and oral traditions about individuals with magical abilities, which solidified the belief in their existence, often featuring cautionary tales of bargains with dark forces or encounters with mischievous spirits like poltergeists or boggarts. Some historians also link early witch accusations to lingering pre-Christian pagan practices, where individuals with knowledge of herbal medicine, traditional midwifery, or communal divination rituals were demonized and persecuted by the burgeoning Christian Church, conflating their ancient practices with heresy and demonic influence, seeing them as practitioners of forbidden ancient rites. For sorceresses, their evidence appears more frequently in ancient heroic narratives and epic poems, rather than direct historical persecution. Ancient texts and mythology provide figures like Medea, a powerful sorceress in Greek mythology who used potent poisons and elaborate enchantments to aid Jason, and Circe, who transformed Odysseus's men into animals through potent brews and divine power. In Arthurian legends, Morgan Le Fay stands out as a powerful enchantress and half-sister to King Arthur, consistently wielding formidable magic, healing, illusion, and even political manipulation through arcane means, often serving as a complex figure of both aid and antagonism, her power rooted in ancient Fey bloodlines. Historically, various scholars, philosophers, and practitioners in fields like alchemy, the medieval pursuit of transmuting base metals into gold, or creating the elixir of life and the Philosopher's Stone, which was believed to grant immortality, astrology, The belief that celestial bodies influence earthly events and human destinies, with practitioners meticulously charting planetary movements, and various forms of mysticism, seeking direct communion with ultimate reality through esoteric knowledge and ritual, like the Gnostic search for divine knowledge, pursued knowledge that, to the common person, often seemed to border on the magical. While their pursuits were proto-scientific, philosophical, or spiritual, popular imagination often conflated their intricate rituals and profound esoteric knowledge with true magical abilities, contributing to the sorceress archetype. The existence of secret societies and esoteric orders, such as the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn, or alchemical brotherhoods like the Rosicrucians, dedicated to the study of ancient wisdom, occult sciences, and mystical practices, while not necessarily practicing literal magic, also fueled the mystique and belief in individuals possessing profound, hidden power and influence over unseen forces. Their secrecy often led to speculation and fear, allowing for the projection of magical abilities onto their members. From a rigorous scientific perspective, based on empirical evidence and adherence to the laws of nature, no, witches and sorceresses, as depicted in mythology, folklore, and historical accusations, are not real. Science operates on the principle of falsifiability and reproducibility. This means that for any claim to be considered scientific, it must be possible to test it, and the results of those tests must be consistent and replicable. To date, there has never been a single independently verified, repeatable, or measurable instance of a person possessing supernatural abilities, casting spells, conjuring fire from nothing, transforming into an animal, flying without aid, or manipulating reality through magical means. All documented claims, when subjected to rigorous scientific scrutiny using controlled experimental designs and double-blind protocols, have been either debunked as hoaxes, attributed to known natural phenomena, or explained by psychological factors. The very premise of magic, defying or manipulating the known laws of physics, chemistry, and biology, directly violates fundamental physical laws that govern our universe. For example, conjuring objects from thin air or creating fire without fuel explicitly violates the law of conservation of energy and mass, a cornerstone of modern physics, which states that energy and mass cannot be created or destroyed, only transformed. Manipulating temperatures instantaneously or defying entropy, the tendency of systems to move towards disorder and thermal equilibrium, would violate the laws of thermodynamics. Transforming a living organism into another species, for example, a person into a frog, violates complex biological principles of genetics, cellular structure, and organic chemistry, requiring instantaneous, directed changes to DNA and cellular composition that are not observed in nature. Alchemical transmutation of base metals into gold, a common aspiration in historical magical texts, violates principles of nuclear physics, as it would require changing the atomic number of an element, a process far beyond mere chemical reactions and typically only achievable in extreme conditions like supernovae or particle accelerators. Moreover, many magical acts imply non-local effects or actions without a physical cause, which fundamentally contradicts the principle of causality in physics, stating that an effect must have a preceding cause. The concept of a magical force itself is unmeasurable and undefined within any scientific framework, lacking quantifiable properties like mass, energy, or interaction fields, unlike the four fundamental forces of nature: strong, weak, electromagnetic, and gravitational. The widespread belief in witches and sorceresses can be attributed to psychological and sociological explanations, which fall within the scope of scientific study in fields like psychology, anthropology, and sociology. The human mind is prone to various cognitive biases that can lead to a belief in magic. For instance, confirmation bias causes people to selectively seek out and interpret information in a way that confirms their existing beliefs, even when that evidence is weak or anecdotal. Illusory correlation leads to perceiving relationships between two events or variables where none objectively exist, particularly when seeking patterns to explain randomness. Humans also have an innate tendency for attribution of agency and anthropomorphism, attributing conscious will or intent to unexplained phenomena or projecting human qualities onto natural forces, for example, a storm being angry, leading to explanations like spirits or magical beings causing events. Historically, accusations of witchcraft often served as a potent mechanism for social control and scapegoating, providing convenient, easily digestible explanations for misfortunes, disease outbreaks, crop failures, sudden deaths, that lacked scientific understanding at the time. They also served as a means to punish marginalized groups, nonconformists, or those challenging established power structures. The placebo effect offers a well-documented scientific explanation for perceived magical cures, where a person's strong belief in a remedy, even if inert, can trigger real physiological or psychological improvements through the body's own healing mechanisms. Finally, many historical magicians and charlatans, long before modern stage magic, undoubtedly employed sophisticated sleight of hand, misdirection, and illusion to create the appearance of supernatural feats. Modern stage magicians, like David Copperfield or Penn and Teller, continue to demonstrate how seemingly impossible acts can be achieved through clever, non-magical means, reinforcing that perception of magic can be entirely manufactured. In conclusion, while the enduring tales of witches and sorceresses continue to captivate our imaginations, serving as rich allegories for human desires, fears, and the search for control over the uncontrollable, they remain firmly in the realm of myth, cultural narrative, and explainable psychological and sociological phenomena. Science, with its rigorous methodology, empirical scrutiny, and unwavering adherence to the fundamental laws of the universe, provides no verifiable support for their literal existence as beings capable of supernatural acts. The profound power of Eliza and Morwen lies not in their ability to defy physics, but in their enduring presence as archetypes, reflecting humanity's deepest impulses, its understanding of the mysterious forces that shape our world, and its perennial fascination with the extraordinary. Ultimately, magic isn't a defiance of reality, but a profound reflection of humanity's ceaseless wonder and our eternal quest for meaning in the world, whether found in the stars or within the earth's silent heart.